Okay, hello, you all wonderful people. Happy, magical 2023. It's started, it's now 5 days old. And it is an amazing time, one can feel it. It's really like something big is getting ready. At least I can feel it, and astrology is definitely supporting that. Lots and lots of energy is available to be transposed into consciousness. Things are just the way they are in the world, that everything is now questionable. Nothing is for certain anymore. Everything becomes so easily distinguishable as either in the right frequency or not. So it's really that light and dark which is getting ever more clear to all and everyone. So it will be naturally, as I said many times, January 12th, January 13th, these are the days when the full activation is taking place. What we have been preparing for 7 months, you could say, since pretty much last June or so, when there was the exact Jupiter-Neptune conjunction, actually on the 6th of June, 666, 6th day of the 6th month in a 6th year. That was the heliocentric Jupiter-Neptune conjunction. Yes, there's always synchronicities, amazing synchronicities. Anyway, we are heading into a most exciting finale of this Tiger year, which, as I said already in my last videos, don't expect anything outward showing itself in a big way before the 12th or 13th of January. These last 10 days, then they will be critical. They will open so many new doors into the year of the rabbit on the 21st of January, which will open a whole new chapter. But these 10 days will be critical, and we are building up to that. One can feel it after all that which has already happened in these short 5 days. Just thinking of Dr. Fulmich and the big revelations which are coming from that end, of all the people now openly speaking out, building up to these Nuremberg processes coming. Naturally, there will be a response from the dark guys. There's always still that balance. Everything goes more into the extreme. The pressure will be ever more greater. Just today I learned that originally what was planned for 2050, that is happening now. So these agendas have been pushed backwards as they run out of time, and because of that so many mistakes are made and all of the following. So it's divine timing. It has to be that way. We force them to play their hands way prematurely. They are not ready, and that is what the cosmos and the consciousness of everyone, of the whole setting, has been instigating towards, that things are played prematurely, so things are then getting easily derailed. We force them to act. So that's what exactly this next phase will be. There will be some magic, you could say. It is a magical year in many ways. It's also lots of personal power can be reclaimed, because all these silhouettes out there, they have no real support and power anymore. Everything is falling apart. So it is us standing in our power, doing the right thing, naturally circumventing these barricades, doing the right thing in preparation for what's to come. And again, I'm happily sharing. One of my main sources is Jacqueline Hobbs, Dr. Jacqueline Hobbs, aka Oracle Girl. Look her up, oraclegirl.org. She is at the cutting edge of all that. Really the oracle of our times, who always is ahead and shows us energetically how things are going. The purification space, so important to purify this frequency we are on and to raise it collectively. That's what it all is. Actually, the cause of the big shifts is coming from the frequency of the collective humanity, and we are in sync with the sun. That's a very clear connection. So when our consciousness reaches a certain level, then the sun will produce a release of energy, which then will trigger some major shifts here on Earth as well, which has been predicted by many cultures. This is probably coming up soon, well possible in the first half of February, that we see some major tectonic shifts and changes instigated by the solar activity. So anyway, I'm so super excited. At the same time, it will be a super difficult time. This has to be said. It is what we wanted. We are getting it. It's really pushing through that bottleneck, that very last phase before the release into the open. So there's pressure building up on all sides. This is the chart when the sun will enter hexagram 61, inner truth. And those of you who are following me, you are aware of those different Chinese hexagrams overlaying the zodiac, which is part of the human design systems teachings. Actually, these were channelings. This comes from a fifth or sixth dimensional source, most certainly. This is a whole story in itself, but the way I'm applying it, I'm mainly looking at the sun at this point. I mean, there's so many ways, but the sun is naturally the major energetic player in this universe. I guess everybody agrees on that part. The sun is the main focal point, and all the other planets and moons and such are naturally playing a very important role, but it is always the sun which has to be looked at first, and therefore it is where we get the biggest clues when the sun is changing hexagrams, which just happened today on the 5th of January, actually, when I'm recording this. We entered hexagram 54, which is the marrying maiden, and just a few words on that I Ching hexagram, which is quite kind of hard to understand. What is that title meaning? What is it really? It is at the core of Capricorn. It's really, in my opinion, the heart of the Capricornian energy. And the beautiful thing, just look at the symbol to start with, is the interception of the light and the dark forces. It's really like that chain link again. One links into the other. You see the perfect balance, the perfect mirror. So this in itself is kind of the fractal of the yin-yang symbol. I don't know if you can see what I see, but the marrying maiden is the yin energy interacting with the yang energy, deeply interactive. The yin energy also is on top, is really in the ruling position. The male energy is responding and receiving. So this is an ideal connection as the two forces move toward each other. Now the marrying maiden, the story is that it's the wife or the concubine of the emperor who truly rules the country. That's has to be understood again in this cultural context of the ancient Chinese government structure. As we know, the I Ching is roughly 5,000 years old. At least that's the estimate. It could be well older, which I suspect it is. So the sun today moved into hexagram 54. So let's just go back to this chart, which is this one here as of today, and then we slowly getting to the 13th and beyond, which is So I really show you the build-up, the energetic build-up here, and it's remarkable. So the moon here is in a perfect square to Jupiter in the first degrees of cardinal signs. This is a powerfully expansive lunar energy, the moon again being the nature's intelligence, in a way. I like to say it's the moon is that deeper layer of who we are. It is not rational, it is totally related to the water, to the physical self of ourselves, which in that sense is tied into nature. So the moon is definitely strong tied into nature. Animals are ruled by the moon. The moon is our psyche, the moon is our soul, our emotions, our feelings. I mean, there's so many things that our inner child is lunar. So the lunar frequency, when it's activated and accelerated, as it is just an approaching full moon, as you see, we're just getting into that full moon phase. Actually, we are in already. It will be the exact full moon probably pretty much around when I'm recording this here, which, as I say, is the activation of this hexagram 54, the marrying maiden. Each time the sun enters the new hexagram, naturally that is a starting point, planting a seed for what's to come in the next 5 to 6 days. That's how long it is. 5 degrees, 37 minutes and 30 seconds of arc. That is if you divide the 360 degrees by 64 different hexagrams. So again, I'm just want to show you here a few charts. You always are welcome to stop the recording here and look at the charts more in depth. They are all critical. They're amazing. Just want to mention here Varuna at the first house cusp. Varuna squaring TX 300, and here on the other side we have Chariklo. There's lots going on in this chart, that's why it's always a little hard to read. Chariklo is the midwife, the one who is holding our hands, Mother Nature, the higher dimensional energies which are here, and yes, they do not show themselves very often in physical form, but they're here present, our angels, archangels, guides, ascendant masters, you name it. That is all coming in through this Chariklo energy. TX 300 is the loud, bold voice which we are getting to discover, I would say, within ourselves, as the lunar node is approaching TX 300 and then Varuna. Naturally, this is the integrity which we all are manifesting. Really, it is all these people who are in the know of what's going on. We are building that momentum energetically for this integrity to become the main focus. That's where we're heading. And then naturally Radamantas here to complete that grand square. I mean, you can see this, these are all minor planets, yes, but they are having a superimposed position over the system. They are not in resonance with the inner planets. I keep repeating that. That's a really an important thing to realize. They are not involved. They're independent observers. They're all fractals of consciousness which came freshly into rising above the water, you could say, out of the ocean into the conscious sphere. Before that, they were forces which we had not the direct access to tap them and bring them into conscious functioning. Now we do. These are all added fractals. It shows, or I should say, it's a mirror, mirroring the extreme complexity our reality has gotten into, so to say, over the last 50-60 years. And it's interesting how this is connected naturally with better technology, greater ability to scan the skies and therefore see more. And then as this translates into the psycho-spiritual mental evolution of planet Earth, is that this then shows on that level of tapping into new energies, new possibilities become apparent. We become aware of things we have not even been thinking about, all of that. So anyway, this is just, it's really starting to get exciting. I just want to scroll back one more day here to yesterday, when Earth was exactly at its perihelion, meaning closest to the Sun, and that's what it shows if you look at it as a picture. Okay, just give it a sec to pull up. Come on. Okay, too much going on here on my laptop, I guess. Here we go. Okay, now we lost it. It's not what I want to be. Okay, I guess my laptop is acting up a little bit. Yeah, I guess that window just closed. Let's see if I have it here still open. Yeah, here I have it. So I can show you here. Oops. Sorry about that. I just have too many windows open, I guess, here. Okay. Yeah, here we are. Okay, one sec. Bring it into the center here. Here we go. Yeah. That happens every year, January the 4th, that Earth is closest to the Sun, and around July the 4th, you see it's 3 million miles difference. So these 2 points is reflecting the relationship between Earth and the Sun, and it's solely these 2 bodies. Well, not 100%, as I will tell you in a second, but it is that relation between the Sun and Earth which is redefined in these 2 moments. And the one additional factor which plays big into this equation is naturally the Moon. Depending on which side of Earth the Moon is, this can be within a window of 2 days, this farthest and closest approach to the Sun. So this was yesterday, and this is again the chart for Greenwich, as always. And first of all, there's lots of water rising, Cancer and Pisces midheaven. So it is really all about getting in touch with that energy of feeling, of sensing, of extending our senses beyond the clear-cut physical form of Earth. Water is what connects us all. So that Moon here, the Moon in general, is definitely emphasized for the whole next 6 to 12 months. I look at it that these are 2 reset points which are both important. And again, as of now, that a new perihelion was passed through by Earth. So this is laying the ground for a whole new year till the next perihelion, and the same way with the aphelion, which was on July the 4th. Again, they're overlapping, interlinking with to another can't speak anymore, but you get the idea. So I guess what really stands out here is the asteroids, and the asteroids play a critical role too in the whole story of what's unfolding on planet Earth all the time, because they are the ones which link the inner planets, Mercury, Venus, Mars, and the Moon in that sense, and the Sun, with the outer planets, Jupiter, Saturn, which is then entering the collective, the social collective and transpersonal realm. So the asteroids truly are the link which are showing how we personally express ourselves and interact with the collective. They show the different job descriptions, if you want, how we are interacting. I guess there's really no better word. So Estrella is the one which adds the energy of cleanup, of giving advice, showing what can be done better. But first and foremost, it's the compassion and readiness to step into a difficult situation. Estrella, named after a Greek goddess of that name, she stayed on planet Earth, down in the lowlands, if you want. So long after things had gone sour, the world deteriorated and became corrupt and such, all the other gods escaped and said, not for us, we don't want to deal with this mess. And they went up to Mount Olymp and had their fun above the clouds. That's what the myth says. Estrella stayed with the humans and shared her divine insights, her understanding of what's truly necessary. And in that sense, that is the influence we're seeing. We are getting lots of guidance, but we have to do the work. We are the ones to roll the sleeves back, so to say, get our hands dirty. That's what this shows. This is super important over the next few months into the next year. And naturally, Vesta, the holy flame, this is what we do to worship a higher force. And naturally, the best way you worship is by being of service to the greater whole. So these Piscean forces, together with Juno, are truly transforming that Neptunian realm of deception and of illusion. There's a big cleanup crew here helping, and actually Nessus is also being brought out into the full daylight. We have to look at the ugliness, at the corruption. There's no way to just blind that out anymore. This is the starting point, and once we have truly understood what's the deeper underlying layers of this reality, then we are able to remedy it, to bring it to a better place. That's what we are here for, and we were born for these times. I'm just really telling you, I'm kind of the reporter showing you how the planets are lining up, and I'm naturally, that's my approach. I'm very scientifically minded. I want to understand it and show you that this is all a given, that this has long been planned, that one could say we might live in a simulation. I think on some level we sure are. And we are the ones who have set that simulation up. We, the collective, again, the consciousness, the divine. which we all are part of, or holistically seen, holographically seen. Each of us is the crystallization point within this divine matrix, where space and time finally collapses into singularity. Pallas rising. Pallas has been standing out over and again in so many charts and still will. It is the energy of seeing through and putting one and one together. And you see here this, Mercury is retrograde, and you know that certainly between the 29th of December and January the 18th. And there is 3 times when Mercury is exactly opposing Pallas, lining up with Arrokoth, which is again the one who's showing how every piece of the puzzle fits together with all the others, giving us the ability to see the whole picture. So this, the awakening is in full force, actively. It's like an avalanche rolling down, and it's extremely massive, and it creates turbulence on all levels, and that's what we have to brace for and prepare for. So anyway, in itself, this chart is a gem. Naturally, for Mars still moving backwards, that has not to be underestimated, and Mercury too. That's why I say we are in this phase still of pulling the string back of the bow and getting more ready. And the moon here with the equatorial point again, very clearly showing this is now up to a much more fundamental frequency of who we are, of that connection with nature, with our intuition, with our senses, emotions. That's where we are truly connecting with as a collective oneness here on planet Earth. In Gemini, the moon is, again, this favors the exchange of information, which is crucial, as this has been abused and in such big ways, that information flow, or that whole mind control, brainwash, whatever has been going on. And yes, the first house has the black moon in it, who is just about to enter the sign Leo on the 8th of January, actually. So there's lots and lots of going on in this chart alone, but let's just move to the same moment heliocentrically. I found that super interesting that we have Venus in conjunction with Saturn, and we have Mercury in conjunction with Mars, and they both are in a trine here with each other at the end of air signs. Venus, Saturn, yes, this is a disillusionment and kind of coming to terms with all which we don't really want to see. It is kind of a swallowing a bitter pill, and I guess that's pretty much what it is. We have Mercury and Mars conjunct. Mars, who's still going retrograde as seen from Earth, has here a strong power up with Mercury in that last final degree of Gemini. Super powerful here with Chaos, who's just entered the sign Cancer heliocentrically, as I shared with you in my last recording, opening us up to looking at things in new ways, in a whole kind of flushing down all what we know, and then really start looking at what we are seeing with Pianor, the strong man standing up for his rights, her rights, innovative, and really Pianor is the free spirit as such. So all of that together, this is kind of the energy which we are rolling into these next 12 months with Nessus up high. Yes, Nessus and Neptune, this is what we have to put into the crosshairs in Pisces. It makes so much sense. So anyway, this is the starting point. That's where we are today. And now let's move into the 11th of January, when things really will start picking up. Before then, as I say, this is all undercurrents and opening great potentials for each and everyone to dive deeper and get ready on an energetic level for some big moves. So first of all, with the Sun entering hexagram 61, this is the hexagram of inner truth. And again, you just see it by the structure of the hexagram. This is all which is put in words is really a translation of the structure of the. This holds the whole secret. Now, yes, let's see if it loads here within the next short while. Here it is. You see, it is the empty core, which is able to zoom in and focus on what really matters. Extremely receptive at heart. Inner truth. Super powerful hexagram. And you won't be surprised when I tell you that's the hexagram. That's the area of the zodiac where Saturn and Pluto met in the year 2020, January 2020. And sure enough, this is the war for truth, for inner truth. It is that spiritual war we are in, which came to a climax with that Saturn-Pluto conjunction, and still we are in this working it all out phase now. And in many ways we are turning into the final stretch here of this journey, it seems. It might be a while till we're fully out into the open, so to say, in a much better world. We have now to work through the tail end and clean it up and bring everyone involved to account, to justice. Super important. So as I said before, this won't be the solution of it all, but it will be the critical next few weeks, I even would like to say, which will show to everyone with open eyes that we are on the winning stretch, that these other forces, how terribly they try and try to suppress and stop everything in its tracks, they never will be able to succeed. This much becomes clear to everyone, if not there already is. But it will be really rippling out into the world, into all four directions. This is the degree of the galactic center rising when the Sun enters hexagram 61. So you can tell already this 6-day phase in born in that moment when the Sun is crossing the 20 degrees 45 Capricorn mark. This will be a super important phase in the year. Really bring a first big highlight. First degree Scorpio in midheaven here with Haumea and Elatus. Haumea is that reform energy which creates with fire, the fire goddess. It is great inspiration and the power to do things in a totally new way. There's lots of enthusiasm in it, and naturally now with the Scorpionic energy since November the 12th. And yes, Homia will go back into Libra for a while before fully entering. But I guess till April or so, this is its first dip. And we feel the intensity, and the lattice is the one which helps to bring this energy into our perception. Elatus is at crossroads showing up, and Elatus also is the ability to improvise, to be spontaneous. Now what really stands out here is the moon. The moon at 7:36 Virgo, pretty dead on exact AW 197, the art of war, the stratagem. It's that ability to use the energy of the opponent and turn it 180 degrees around and against him. So that's truly what's going on. Data harvesting has been done, as I mentioned. One prominent example, Dr. Rainer Füllmich, world-class lawyer who has won many cases in industrial fraud and such. He is on the case with an army of probably about 1,000 lawyers and doctors and coryphees in their own right in their expertise. So these people have the courage to do what is right and this is just the starting point. What we are working for is naturally to get more people to know about all that. That is super important, and that is actually happening. So again, this is a super important moment, and this is just the beginning of a sequence. The next chart here shows Aries station. See, this was the, let's go back here, this is just within, this is 6:30 a.m. and this is 5:56 p.m. so 12 hours later or so. Aries turns direct. Super important addition here of firepower. Aries here 23:55 in Aries. Aries, E-R-I-S, a feminine energy who pushes for transparency and justice, and is not afraid to go through war even and conflict. So this is a super important addition here. When a planet is stationary, its energy is greatly enhanced. It's kind of at zero motion. It becomes that underlying influence which colors everything. So think of Aries stationary during that whole switch between the 11th and the 13th of January. And with Venus here at the 7th house cusp, yes, it's all about bringing people together onto the same table, creating this new earth, this communion of like-minded people, and like-minded I mean of working in the same direction, having the same positive outlook on what is possible on this planet. The Aquarian energy of Venus is definitely a main marker of this year of 2023, as it is at the beginning here. Then let's move on, as it's, yeah, just to keep it more concise. Sun Arrokoth conjunction at 21:39 on the 12th, 4 a.m. You might see this again. Astrea, Vesta and Neptune, what we mentioned in the other chart a few days earlier when Earth was at its perihelion. This was in midheaven. So just reinforcing this energy. Now, Sun Arrokoth, naturally, that is the yearly meeting with this force of seeing the whole picture, bring everything into one main frame, putting the pieces of the puzzle together, and with let me just see here. Okay. Right. Mercury is already at 11:15 here back. I'm just was wondering a little bit about that, but yes, Mercury is moving backwards fast. And then Mars turns direct on the 12th, just a few hours after Sun and Arrokoth have their exact conjunction, and yes, Mars dead on the 10th house cusp. This is the house of work. I mean, Mars expresses with this quality of work, particularly so in the 10th house, having that Capricornian undertone of the 10th house. Let's get things done, let's put our energy into it, and be a loud voice of truth, of that which the world really needs to hear. The Virgo rising here with Orcus and Nessus in the axis, which is that transforming of the lower frequency of Nessus, of that alchemy which is fully going on, of bringing the dark into the daylight and allowing it to show its ugly face, but also at the same time to bring consciousness into this character and allow it to express itself in a refined form. The moon is in an interesting degree here, 2656. Keep this in mind also for future reference, because this is an important degree which we will see once and over and again. Yeah. So then this will be the real game changer. I mean, when the planet stations, yes, it takes a few days really for its energy to start picking up momentum. But just one day after Mars is now driving forward again, Juno enters Aries. Here, 0 degrees, 0, 0, 0, 0. Juno, that asteroid which wants us to work together to help out one another. This truly the mutual support which is coming in here big time. Relationships, teamwork. It's the idea of many pillars. It needs to hold a big roof. From Pisces into Aries, this is a big shift, a total change of expressing itself. and approaching Jupiter naturally now, as it's in the same sign, will team up with Jupiter. Jupiter is all about expansiveness and being seen, being heard. Jupiter is never one which goes by quietly, and with Juno teaming up there with Jupiter, yes, we are getting heard over these coming weeks when Juno will be in Aries. There will be some major noise which cannot be just played over anymore so easily. So this is a great activation, and you see the moon at this point in perfect opposition to the two, Juno and Jupiter, pretty much exactly in between. This in itself again is just a clear sign of the moon in Libra, which is the sign of making connections with others in peaceful and harmonious ways, finding that social connection to be inspiring one another. And then there is Ceres, the nurturing motherly instinct, also in an air sign, which again is, if we boil it down to information and exchanging knowledge, building bonds and connections, super important in these next weeks. And I would say particularly so as Saturn is still in air as well here for the next few weeks into March the 7th. So I said it before, super important with that Saturn in Aquarius still to build that network of friends and of people you can count on, and structure your how you reach out into the world. The grid work is laid now, and then when Saturn moves into Pisces, things get way more convoluted in a way, and deeper. We then have to rely on these structures we are building. Things will get pretty chaotic over the next 2 years, and it is again what we were wanting. This is a necessary transition. We just have to accept that. And yes, and again the galactic center rising, giving this moment, this instance here, a super additional power boost of galactic energies. Elatus and Homia again here, very close to the 10th house cusp. And then the last thing of the day, which is probably the well, this is the heliocentric chart. I threw this one in. Let me see what is standing out here. Well, you can look at it yourself. And then let's move on to this one. Yes, that's the last one of the series. I really wanted to emphasize once more. That's ASBOLUS, 4th of 5 exact alignments with the galactic centers opposition. This is wrong still, I haven't corrected that, sorry about that. It's the opposition point, but opposition or conjunction, they are actually really similar in expression, even though diametrically opposing each other. ASBOLUS, Sherlock Holmes in one word, one character, looking for the resolution of mysteries and of crimes. So this is kind of the central theme, and you see Mars and the part of fortune. Yes, Mars is there with his big loop, and now very vocal, very loud. Mars can be a real loud mouth in Gemini, knows how to speak, how to express itself. And Mercury at that moment here in its conjunction with Hygeia, yes, it's about health, well-being, and getting things more crystallized in that direction. In a square aspect to the moon and Maki Maki. Maki Maki. We have been talking about Maki Maki several times. You might remember. That's that super courageous approach to even defy death in order to access higher spiritual frequencies, becoming that medium to channel the force of creator almost. And just to end this session here, I want to show you once more time the fifth conjunction ASBOLUS will have. ASBOLUS, and again, sorry, conjunction, I mean opposition. I'm also having a left, right, whatever, dyslexia. I guess opposition and conjunction fits into that same pan. So anyway, the last opposition to the galactic center ASBOLUS will have here at 2710 at this point. And again, naturally the galactic center is not really marked here in the chart. There's no symbol for it in the solar fire program, but you have to believe me, and you can Google it. 2710, that is where the galactic center resides right now. This is down to the moment. I'm using that latest software to calculate these positions down to the second. And Pallas and Pluto here in the first degrees of the signs Leo and Aquarius. It's extremely promising. I'm having a really great expectations for this year to be the year of breakthrough. We have been waiting for far too long. We are approaching fast now that critical point where things completely break open. Well, thank you again for joining and listening. And if you're interested, share it or give it a like, or you can also support me. There's links underneath. It's super welcome. Gives me more focus then on sharing even more of what I see. Wishing you again a magical 2023. Be ready to go through difficult times. It's worth it. It's 100% worth it. And if you approach the whole thing from a place of heart and love, that's really the bottom line here. We are the ones who are bonding everything together. We are the glue, bringing healing as a collective to the bigger part of society who's still starting to become aware of what's truly been going on. Thank you so much and enjoy. And I love you all.